Thank you very much. It's great to see so many old faces here, just after that intro there. And any new faces, if anybody doesn't know me, my name's Theo de Rat, and I'm here to tell you that Pledge was all a big joke. Okay. Anybody been to my talks before? Yes. Good. Well, this is the first one. There are only two this time around, but they're not very easy. So, anybody get any ideas? No? First one. Sorry? No, it's close, but he's, imagine that I'm him, and I'm calling you all a bunch of losers. All right? You're a bunch of losers. Right? I'd be disrespecting you, right? And in street talk, I'd be dissing you. So we'll go with this, shall we? What's the second one there? Spell, well done. And last one? Baseball, swing and a miss. Thank you, Scott. So, dispel myths. We're dispelling the myths about NetBSD 8. So, this talk is going to have a number of statements up here with a little bit of clip art that's got a question mark on it. And you have to guess whether it's true or false. Okay? It's a bit more interactive than the usual talks. So, long time to release NetBSD 8, true or false? False? True. Oh, we've got some truths. Yeah, excellent, right. You need to keep shouting them out, folks, right. Well, I've just realized that presenter notes aren't coming up here, so we're going to have to go and see. 7.0 released in September 2015, and so we're talking about roughly 2 years between 7 and 8. That's longer than we like to have. Ideally, it would be a year. But it looks like we're going to ramp up that and aim for a year going forward as well. So we expect 9 to be around about this time next year. That's the plan, anyway. We started the process in June 6th. It's still there in the branch. It's in beta at the moment. And we expect it to be released real soon now. Still a few bugs to go, and they're posted there for people who want to have a look at them. Yeah, please go. Okay, next one. No packages available. True or false? False, thank you. Right. And I'm going to get you with this one. I feel sure. Any guesses? Good guess, but no. And there's nothing Trump related as well. I'll give you that one. So, yeah. Any guesses? Maybe. What's Obama doing? Laughing, yeah. So the first part is ha, as in ha, ha, ha. Second part is red. You've got that, yes? Hardware. So we're going to be talking about hardware here. Right, next one. Old hardware only, NetBSD. False. Any truths? No. Nobody's going to stick their neck out. Okay. Old hardware only. Well, Jared McNeil up in Newfoundland has been quietly overachieving for the last year and a bit, I think. All of this is his work with the ARM ports in NetBSD. I don't know if any of you has taken the time out to compile the EVB ARM port just recently. I did it just after an AMD 64 build on a slow VM, which took 5 hours. The EVB ARM port took 11 hours, and that's mainly because of all the kernels that we have there. We are killing some. Yeah, we're killing this in huge detail. So we talked about old hardware. The kind of Cortex names down the side you probably don't realize, you don't know. But the ones across here are fairly obvious, very well known, I think, in the outside world. So we're not just there on old hardware. We're there on new hardware, especially in the ARM space. Now, Jared explained all of this over about an hour to me. And if anybody wants to go and have a look at the TypeScript in which he did this, it's very, very instructional, I can tell you that. It's in the form of a script file, so you just play it back with script -p, that. And that should work on all the scripts that are out there in the BSDs. But it gives a great idea of what he did, why, how he did it, and not just the hardware stuff as well, all the full device trees and other things like that that are coming on. So Intel QAT support came in from 2 of the IIJ developers. I'm not sure if it's in tree at the moment or not, but it is there. And the ultimate support for new hardware there. And there's actually a screenshot of this. I don't know if you can see down here, but there's that's the frame buffer. And where is it on there? Maybe it's the next one. Yeah, I think that's it there. USB there at ALHCI. Brilliant. Felix Dortmann in Germany did that, and that's marvelous. So, any guesses? True, false?
Partial.
Partial? What way partial? Yeah, compared to GCC, we don't have all the architectures that they have, for example, but there is support for other newer architectures there as well. So, yeah, okay, I'll give you the partial there, Christoph. Yeah. Okay, it's in tree. Jorg has been maintaining it. It's still optional, and it's off by default. Jorg pointed out that the regular testing with the bulk builds is particularly good at finding compiler regressions. And the other thing I'd note is that on the bulk build stats that we see on the mailing lists, the Clang bulk builds typically have way more packages building, not way more, they have more packages building than GCC builds. Whether that's because Jorg is more efficient at doing these things, or whether Manuel doesn't do them as often, I'm not too sure. But there we go. If you were in the talk before this one, Camille was talking about LLVM and the debugging infrastructure. One of the particular points that Cherry made there was about the libfuzzer and safe shield that was there. Yeah, and the sanitizers as well are very interesting for us. And Camel's been doing some great work there with that. Okay. Okay. True, false, maybe. Partial. Partial because we have no top of the kernel virtualization, yeah. Okay. We've got Zen, of course, had that for, well, over 12 years now. User mode we have there. It doesn't work, actually, if you compile it just recently. Something in the changes that Obayashi-san did for the LD scripts have made it not to compile. We've got rump, which is the kind of ultimate virtualization by namespace munging, I think is the best term of it. But we have no beehive or KVM equivalent, or even the BSD, the OpenBSD VMM. That's probably a big hole that we have. Be great if somebody would have a look at it. Okay, no signing. I can make a few signs. Nope, Yeah, I think Riastrad's trying to give me the American Sign Language for something there, but I'm not sure which it is. Any guesses? Partial. We're talking about NetBSD here, so I'd probably go for a no, we don't have it. But we do sign the hashes of all the releases that we do, which is a minor thing. It's not that great, and you'd have to generate the hashes yourself to work out whether it's good or not. But having said that, all of the Metalog hashes that are created during build.shell, they get installed on the machines, and so it could be done automatically. We do need to pick up a game here, though. Right, outdated utilities in base. And Christos isn't allowed to answer this one. True, false, what? Sorry? Actually, I've got a script that will help you out there, Martin. Yeah. But color LS is in package source, and I have a script that will do it because I need colors. I need all the context I can get with my eyes. Anyway, I'll say a no. Christos is doing a marvelous job there, updating all of the third-party stuff that we have in base. There is now a small shell script called sysinfo, which will do a kind of fairly fine-grained job of working out what specific versions of what specific versions of system information we have in the base system. And as of last week, I committed some stuff to do it on a Dester as well, so we can actually work out from the Dester in build.shell what packages, I keep saying packages, they're wrong. Yeah. Yeah, that's the next step. Yep. Yeah. With small steps, lots of them. Yep. It's coming. Sorry? Okay. Just repeat the question. Christos said he wanted it to be extended so that the latest version could be printed relative to this. This is actually a snapshot of what's installed on the system and things like that. It would be nice to have that up on the website, and so people can actually run it locally and check it against of what's there. That was going to be the next stage of this whole thing. Okay, I'll let you off without answering the previous one. Partial? I would say probably right. We don't have any of the new modern congestion control algorithms or mitigation algorithms in our TCP. One of the bright spots was Manuel Bayer's SOC-CAN implementation for all of us who have cars and want to run NetBSD in our cars. Right. And boats. Sorry, yes. Sorry, my mind was on other things there. Yeah, and the only other thing I could think of was that Roy's done some marvelous stuff with DHCP-CD, and I used to think that I'll just use DH client and it works fine. But if you actually have a look at the size of the executables, the DH client one is about 5 meg. And DHCP-CD comes in about 60K or so. So, great work. And I know Christos has been working closely with them on getting some bugs fixed, and Roy's very responsive, and it's great to have that. But I'd agree in general, networking is outdated. So, is it difficult to develop for? False, thank you. Yes. We have build.shell that's been around 15 years. Does cross-OS building and cross-platform building. That's incredibly useful and a great selling point as well for NetBSD. We've got the make image there, which will build up an image for anybody who wants to run things. And especially nice is that you can actually add packages into that and get a straight image built for you like that. It's now runs unprivileged, and we've got other things in package source that will make live CDs and make a USB stick that you can boot from. And just recently, Jared's done some marvelous work with all the U-boot packages, and Savannah as well, wherever you are. Yes, there. Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to wake you up. And mentioned all the U-boot packages. That's the ones I could find down there that would fit on a thing. Apologies, you probably can't see them very well, but yeah, that's because there are a fair number of them these days. Okay, run by morons. Well, I have to say, in my case, it's absolutely true, if I have anything to do with it. Others take a large amount of time and effort to run the project and to do a whole lot of the administration, the Petra up the back, for example. We have a board of directors and a core team, which is the technical management. So it's just like a company setup, really. We have AGMs every year and board elections every year as well. So this is your chance to become a moron, right? How about this one? True? True? False? I'd have to say false, actually. We have no hammer. One of the reasons for that is that it involves VFS changes. Our ZFS is out of date, but Chuck's in the process of updating it. Looking forward to that. LFS was worked on during the Google Summer of Code. And puffs and PUD allow fuse file systems reliably. So for all of the people who said that we don't have modern file systems, what ones were you thinking of? Okay, yeah, I'll give you that, right? So ZFS. What are the other ones that people are looking at? ext4? NFS4, that's true, yeah, I'll give you that. What's the state of the art in Linux at the moment? Have they given up on B3FS? XFS is years old and doesn't work reliably, I believe. You're right. The comment from the audience of the live stream was that Red have pulled the plug on BTRFS. So, yeah, okay. So, right, okay. So, there's still some discussion about this, but we're not doing that badly. We have the file system switch. All of our backups are done using on TNF machines. So we're not doing that badly, I don't think. We've got Samba FS and the client one there. True. No multipathing, but yeah. Okay. So maybe there is room for improvement. Maybe I was over optimistic or something like that. I thought you'd added a new AES. Yeah. Okay. Well. It's probably fairly constant in the machines I run it on. Anyway, no Dtrace. Partial? Again, because it's old? Sorry? True, yes. And we certainly don't have some of the mods that George was talking about earlier on this afternoon. Sorry? Stability, yeah. Okay, I'll give you all of that. However, Savan has done the necessary and added in the Dtrace toolkit scripts. So it's not forgotten about, and we'll certainly track the open Dtrace stuff when it makes it into well, out of GitHub, I think. But there. I see somebody here was doing stuff in 2015. Yeah. No NVMe support. False, thank you. Yes. We brought it in, Nonaka-san and Jaromir Dolicek brought it in from OpenBSD. And it seems to be working fine, certainly with his tests. Okay. False? Okay, we've got a false and a partial and... No, it's still out there for review, and he's still making changes. I saw some at the end of last week. But there's definitely hope in sight for this kind of thing. Okay, developers out of touch. That's not for us to say. For me, obviously true, right? Whenever I travel, I don't take keys with me. I have loaner equipment and things like that. Means that nobody can email me. It's great. It really is. If you want to relax for a while, then do that. So, for my part, I'm out of touch when I'm here, when I travel. Yep. So, did everybody bring their private keys and two-factor tokens? No? No? Okay, so I'm going to claim victory on that one, I think. Okay, next one. You're very quiet out there. Come on. I'd say that we do have them. Jorg has been beavering away on this for, was it 5, 6 years, you told me this morning? Yeah, okay. He's been doing conversions from CVS through Fossil and onto Git for 5 years or so. There've been various speed ups along the way and things like that, but we certainly have Git mirrors of the CVS tree. The CVS tree is obviously the master one, and that. We've also got the Bitbucket Mercurial tree there, which is fairly new, last month or so. And that's great for all of us who like Mercurial. Yeah, thanks to Jorg for setting that up. And IIJ's got a repository that they do automatic conversions on using a fairly interesting JavaScript script. So yeah, that's fun. Okay. Testing is, sorry?
From whose perspective? Internally or externally?
I think looking at the project as a whole, how would you see NetBSD's testing in the whole scheme of things?
Compared to other projects? False.
Yeah,
Could be much better, but it certainly triggers.
I think the combination of Rump and Anita and things like that give us a marvelous platform, really, for doing all of the continuous testing, for working out whether networking has been caused to take more time due to one change. And there's usually a list of commits that have happened between the 2 test times. I think that's great. So that's the RelEng list that I think it was Christos was talking about this morning. The platforms where the testing is done and the frequency of those tests. So I think our testing is pretty damn good, actually. You're right, it could be better. We could test more stuff, and I think that's the idea going forward as well, in that we have a rule that any new utility that comes on board, we need tests for it. It needs to be ATF tests. Now that's fairly onerous and things like that, but we can always help you out with making tests into ATF tests. Some of us have done it a number of times and forgotten how to do it, and then have to go back again. And so we've documented some of the moves along the way. I've also got some scripts to help us out doing this as well. As well as that, these are the runs from September 2017, August 2017, and we can see that the times and the dates where things started failing and the tests that are failing, that kind of thing. I think that's a great resource to have, certainly in the run-up to a release. If you want to find out, if any people can remember back to the 5 and the 6 days, we were taking 6-7 months to try to find out where something had gone wrong over the last 2 years. This is a great way of helping us out, so we don't do that all again. And if you're in Christos's talk yesterday, you'll know all about reproducible builds. So yeah, I'll send you a redirect to the talk that he gave and the paper as well. One thing I have to say, it was way more complicated than I expected. The number of things that had to be changed were marvelous. Not marvelous, were extensive, let's put it that way. I talked to Christos about it. He said we were the first BSD to complete the Debian run. So, and he thought we were the first big Unix to complete the Debian run as well. Does that include all the Linuxes? Yeah, okay. Oh. Okay, interesting. So, rather a significant piece of work there. And just a reminder that Minix uses the NetBSD userland and the build scheme as well. So they've got this almost for free. That I imagine they'll have to do some changes, but they're doing fairly well with that. Thank you. Right, we have now FTT in intree. For those of you who aren't aware of that, it's the full device tree, which means that we don't have to specify everything in kernel config files, for example, for EVB ARM boards and things like that. It's a marvelous way of reducing the number of kernels and hopefully taking that build that I had from 11 hours down to a much more manageable 5 or 6, something like that. So everything else that goes into NetBSD 8. The Dtrace fixes from Camille that he was talking about at the end of his talk there. There's a new sound driver. It went in. We had some issues, but now everybody seems to be reporting that we've got good sound, I think, across the board. So that's good. Saito-san's fixes for the faster Intel NICs. And we mentioned the new AES mode. Obviously not constant time, but I'm sure that's going to come next week or something like that. Okay. One of the things that Jared talked about in that script that I pasted up there earlier was a new SDMMC driver, which allows us to run much faster on the SD cards than we were otherwise able to. Maxim VR's has done a PMAP overhaul of AMD 64 and i386. Marvelous stuff as well. And Zen kernel module, that's the American spelling of it. Right. And there have been some changes to SCSI control. Lua is now at 5.3.4 in kernel, which is great. If you missed, I think it was BSDcon, there's a marvelous talk there about a Lua-based security model. All right, yes, these aren't Ximmerans or anything like that. That was created by a guy, not related to the project at all. Very interesting talk, and it allows us to sandbox various applications and utilities just through a different security model. So ext4fs has been beefed up a bit. It's still called ext2fs in the file system, but yeah, there are other bits in there.
But that's the American spelling of his name as well.
It is, yeah, that's right. Sorry about that. Yeah, yeah, the turbo channel USB stuff we saw earlier on, all marvelous things. Right. The MPCF network changes are in tree. They're not switched on. but they are coming. So we're getting there. And Nick merged his USB work that he's been doing, I think, over the last 2 years or something like that. Again, that gives us some USB 3 support, so we're a lot better than we were previously. This helps us work on newer hardware and things like that. GPD support, including booting. That comes from John Nemeth, I think. And the other marvelous forward-looking hardware kind of thing that we have is PCI support for the Sharks. Anybody still running Sharks, by the way? Whoa, excellent, too. I threw mine out a couple of years ago, I have to say, but well, that was the last one I had. But yes, well done, the pioneers here. Okay. We brought in IP6 adder control from FreeBSD. Christos's blacklist is new in NetBSD 8 as well, I think. 7, whatever. And Maxim VR wrote a scanner and has been running our source tree through, looking for various leaks, lock contentions, and other things like that. So there's a lot of security work that's been going on like that. He also split the kernel PMAP, and this is where I get into the section where I know nothing about it, and so my mouth is moving and words are coming out, but they don't mean anything. Right? But he's been doing some security work to separate the user and the kernel mappings, I think, that are there. I shall probably shut up about that now. It's probably best if I do that. VIO SCSI, which helps us much with a lot of the virtualization platforms. Benny brought us up on the compute engine. So that's supported in 8, I believe, and all bugs fixed and things like that. And Riostrad has done some work on Nuvo, I think. Yep. So, it's there now. It wasn't before, and we're good. Right. So, apart from having lots of slides here, it looks like I'm going to finish early. So, I'll just say there's lots new in NetBSD 8. I've kind of clipped the surface of it here, I think. Lots of people are working very, very hard. It'll be available real soon now, for some version of real soon now. And with that, any questions and answers?
Volunteers?
I was wondering if you could say something about the development of this particular release in comparison to the other ones. Has it been more painful, or?
Development, you mean branching of it, or do you mean the whole efforts leading up to the branch?
The efforts, so like the features and stuff like that, so changes that cause problems, and how volatile has the branch been?
From a personal point of view, I haven't found it very volatile. As in, when I want to build it, it's there. Previously, I mean, 10, 20 years ago, I'd come along and say, what state is current in? Can I install it, or something like that? I haven't had to do that much at all just recently. It's been there, and I think that the automatic testing, the Anita stuff, and especially the automatic runs have been largely to blame for that lack of volatility or lack of instability, I think.
I'd say we had some pretty nasty issues with the GCC update, and we're not completely over that one yet. But
sure, and well, I think they were even worse in the past. I remember M68K managed to take an absolute dive sometime when we upgraded GCC, purely because GCC weren't interested in in M68K code generation, things like that. And we had horrendous bugs like that. But the ones, and yeah, we're still seeing the fallout from that, I think. But I don't remember seeing any kind of really disastrous things happen in the last things. I remember 20 years ago, Mycroft managed to check something in and left the tree broken for two weeks. Yeah, and refused to change it either because it was Mycroft.
I think the big broken things were all very subtle issues that didn't show up until you were just doing the right thing under a full moon.
Yeah,
So.
that's right.
My question is about the toolchain. So I had a glimpse of some conversations about GCC deprecating some platforms recently. I'm not completely sure I understand all of it, but is that going to affect us? And what do we, are we as portable as we used to different compiler tool chains?
Let me try to answer that. We have not upgraded to a version yet where serious loss occurs for our architectures. We are upgrading GCC in current right now to a version that is not affected by that change. So we have the longest time for that old platforms. And we are actively trying to get those platforms supported by LLVM.
And even in GCC, the plan is not finalized yet, as far as I can tell. So,
Any more? Well, thank you very much for letting me be a stunt Mark Powell.